Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. I don't know what to say about this episode. So far, I watched two other soap operas, that is Days and Days Beyond Salem, and in some ways, I was actually dreading watching this just because these episodes haven't been good. I was watching DC Sanctuary, and he was talking about, I think, last week's episodes. He was like, "Ah, man, these episodes, like, it was so good," and I'm just like, um, well, there were parts of those episodes where there was parts within those episodes that were good. I wouldn't sit there and say the whole thing. I I think it's really interesting when I sit there and look at the soap opera community as a whole, and there actually is surprisingly a soap opera community. Now we all kind of see things a little bit differently, and I'm not saying like what you saw was wrong. It's just like with today's episode, there was a lot of unnecessary stuff, and a lot of it was just kind of boring. It was kind of just like it was there to just be there, like Monica sitting there talking to Carly, which was like, why? I mean, it didn't really go anywhere. It was almost the exact same conversation that they had before. The last time that she had a quote unquote heart to heart with Carly. They literally said the same thing. Oh, yeah, I know you and, Jason have been, been each other's rocks for a long time, so it's not surprising that you two are together. And even AJ noticed it. I don't know if she said that last time, but I felt like I was almost watching the exact same conversation as the last time that they talked. What did she have to talk to her about today that she didn't get off her chest last time? I'm confused. So I felt like that was just entirely pointless and a little nauseating. Conversation between Jason and Dante was pretty much about Sunny and their relationship and what it meant, actually having a relationship to Sunny. Alright, that's cool. That's cool. Didn't really go anywhere else. Now what I will sit there and say is, Jason being in handcuffs and stuff like that, Dante seemed like he was more apologetic about the situation. To be honest, he seemed like the way he was telling it seemed like it was more of the DA. They want to put pressure on just like arresting Jason, other than the fact that like he did anything bad. Because we're all sitting there looking at it, and it was Jason's party. It was his bachelor party. They weren't invited. It was a closed, kind of like more of a closed bar set. So it was like the fact that you had Joey there and some other people was like, well, you practically came to almost their party, started crap, and everyone goes to jail? So even Dante was like, yeah, no, this kind of sucks or whatever, but, you should be out in a little bit. And, he kept his promise and he got him out. They had a, again, heart-to-heart talk about Sunny. And that was about it. I guess maybe this was some new people just to understand the relationship between, the complicated relationship between Dante and Sunny and Jason and Sunny. So I can kind of understand that as far as like newbies watching it. I can give them that pass, but for people who have been watching it for a while, it's like, yes, I already know about this. I know about your complicated relationship with Sunny and that you still love him even though you're on the opposite side of the law. Jason, I know about you being grateful to Sunny, him treating you like a person besides Carly once you got the accident. I already know all this. We're really going to sit there and spend 5 minutes? Okay, we're going to spend 5 minutes just rehashing stuff we already know. And then you had, Curtis and Portia, and, Curtis is sitting there talking about how he's on a special case, for his friend Drew, and he may find something that either proof that Drew is alive or Drew isn't alive. Sam comes down there, and the guy, the contact, Um, wants to sit in, I guess. One second. Anyway, whoever this contact is seems kind of skittish. Wants to sit there and give them. No, alright. Here's the thing that's a little kind of weird. He wants to give Curtis some papers, but the papers he wants to then give, like he's not doing it in the office. Now, Portia says something along the lines of violating HIPAA, which I found hilarious because, I mean, we all remember, we've been watching this for a while, we all remember when they just didn't give a damn about HIPAA. As far as, Willow and the judge and that whole crap. They just didn't give a damn about HIPAA. But, Portia said something about HIPAA. And I think Sam was sitting there saying, most likely if we take Portia with us, the guy would be more inclined to sit there and give us the information we need because she's a doctor. I'm sitting there thinking, why? I mean, whatever this is seems kind of shady. You're not giving them these papers at the office. So why would it matter if Portia's there or not? That really didn't make any sense to me. Anyway, Portia agrees to go. Only thing is, now Curtis is like, I don't want Sam going. Pretty much the saying 3 is a crowd. 3 will be too much for this guy. He may get all skittish and stuff like that. But if I'm just posing as her boyfriend, he may be more inclined to sit there and kind of work with us. So she begrudgingly is like, alright, fine. And then she goes to Dante and asks him if he has any more leads on the case or anything like that. And, Dante's like, so let me get this straight. You want to do this way you can get your mind off of this day, with Jason and stuff like that? And at first she says no. Well, at first she acts like she doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Then she's like, yeah. I'm like, I think we already know about my feelings about that whole thing, so I'm just not even going to go there. But Dante says he has an idea. I have no idea what that is, but yeah. Trina and I'm about to say Trina and Carly. Trina and Jocelyn, they talk about the source at first, Sunny's source. And then they talk about Spencer and Esmer, and pretty much the conversation, you can tell that Jocelyn does not like Esmer. Saying that she feels threatened by Trina's presence and that she treats Spencer like property. And I just kind of look at it as like, so we're just gonna sit there and pretend that Esmer, whenever she sits there and talks to people, she talks down to people. We're just gonna ignore that factor. Okay, whatever. Conversation didn't really go too much of anywhere, except for the fact that Trina, Trina showed up at the pool with Spencer and Esmer. And it seems like they get into it a little bit. Because Esmer is sitting there talking about Ava, how she went to go visit her. And Trina's like, yo, leave her alone. She's dealing with enough. Like, why are you bothering her? And of course, in her, I don't even want to sit there and call it snarky, just her bitchy attitude. So like, oh, I see you very protective of her. And, she's like a mother to you since, her daughter died. And I'm looking at this whole thing and I'm just like, who talks like that? Like, who talks like that just so freely and just so, like, not giving a damn? Like, the fact that she brung up Ava's, deceased daughter like that was just, not just cold, just seems like there was no F's given with her. And of course Trina, brings up the fact that it's like, you mean Lauren, right? Because that's what you called her. And then she kind of pieces together a little bit like, oh, you mean like on her name badge? Like she's sitting there trying to make it seem like, okay, so did you have something to do with it since, did you have something to do with the name badge, giving it to Ava and stuff like that? That's pretty much what she's insinuating. And of course, she gives that, Esmer gives that little bitchy look. I can't deal with her. I really can't. I mean, yeah, she spices it up in a way where it's like, it gives the character something to do. But at the same time, it's so difficult sitting there listening to her talk, because every time she talks, she's just constantly talking down to people. Or she's just saying stuff that normal people wouldn't just bring up. Like she was she snuck up behind Ava, and then she was all like, "Oh, well, something, something, something. I just have a knack for sneaking up behind people or something like that." I was like, I don't even remember her actually apologizing for that. But I don't know. She has a talk with Ava, and I felt like throughout that conversation, she even rubbed Ava the wrong way. Just the way that she talks and stuff. Oh, I guess whatever it is between you and Nicholas, whatever this stalker is, it must be pretty bad, and all this other stuff like that. Like, why would you bring that up for? Like, that's none of your damn business. Why are you talking to her about her business for? Like, stuff like that. Like, you don't just walk up to people you barely know and just start talking about their business like that. And that's literally what she did throughout that scene. And it's like, the hell is wrong with you? And I know Ava is going to sit there and try to be more nice and polite, but honestly, tell you the truth, I would have wanted her to sit there and say, like, yo, kick rocks. You don't know anything about my business or anything like that. Like, what the hell are you sitting there talking to me for? I don't know you. You don't know me. Why are you here? And she made some BS talking about, oh, I want to buy a painting, and, she brings up her childhood a little bit as far as, like, yeah, they have money, but they didn't exactly live in a happy home. It was more just like go along to get along kind of situation. And then we had some... Here's the thing. For me, I felt like it was a little kind of boring. Jordan and Sean are sitting there looking over the case of Hayden Barnes and stuff like that. And then TJ comes in. And TJ has a heart-to-heart with his mother. And for all the moms out there that are watching this scene, or will watch this scene, you will love it. You will appreciate it. It's a very good, heartwarming, and almost This Is Us kind of moment. That being said, all he pretty much said was, I love you and I appreciate you. And he just kind of goes on and on and on. And it was just like, alright, that's like nice and sweet and everything like that, but like, it's like it's just contributing to the fact that nothing is really happening in this episode, and it's just like, okay, that was nice, that was great, still looking at my phone. Now, one of the things that did happen was Ava was not there on the phone before Esmer just like showed up and was talking to someone about just do it. And Nicholas got some papers from this woman, which, by the way, I gotta sit there and say, I know that these court processors, these process people, one second. I know that these process servers are just there to like do their jobs and stuff like that, but the way she gave him those papers just came across as so slimy, and like she just gave it to him so sneaky and underhanded. Like, oh, you're Nicholas Cassadine? Hey, hold these papers. Okay, you've been served. It was just like, wait, what? And pretty much what he got was a restraining order from Ava. And I'm just like, okay, I guess divorce papers weren't enough. You're going to sit there and get a restraining order. Okay. Now, she was on the phone and she's sitting there saying something like, she couldn't go through with it or something like that. And when Nicholas got there, I'm like, so Nicholas, you saw that restraining order and you just said, F it. But he confronts her about it. He's like, like, really? You gave me a restraining order? Now, was this for me or was this for you? And she has that pause, that look on her face like she know damn well it's for her also, but whatever. I mean, we're at this point now, we're getting restraining orders, so, okay. Nina, I don't even know if to call her a dingbat or whatever. Now, everything she was sitting there talking about before, as far as, I can't, like, move forward with this relationship until you know more about your past, just goes completely out the window in this episode, and she's just like, yeah, I love you too. So much for that little short little spurt of of her having somewhat of a conscience. I mean, seriously, for like 2 or 3 days, she was like, "We can't be together until you know about more about your past. I love you too." What the? I just stood there and I looked at the TV and I'm like, "Are you serious?" I mean, on top of the fact that she really just feels that she could just keep this double life thing going. It's like, no, I'm just gonna sit there and go full steam ahead with Sonny, even though I know that there's a good chance that he can either remember and, kick me to the curve and I'll be the town pariah, or somebody from my past coming up and finding out who he is. No, I'm just gonna just ignore everything and just say, screw it, let's be together. Of course, her little celebration didn't really last that long too, because when she walked outside, 55 something minutes into the episode, she sees Jax. And he practically is just like standing there. And you see in a preview, she was like, "I'm here to confront you about what you're doing," or whatever. You know, I think everyone already knows how this is going to play out. Jax is going to sit there and keep his mouth shut because Nina's going to sit there and either ask him or blackmail him or knock him over the head. Something's going to wind up happening. But at some point, he's going to regain his memory and, his little, or Maurice Benard's little side project is going to come to an end. I feel like this is the end of the episode. I mean, the end of the review. Now, I was sitting there watching DC Soap Sanctuary, and he was sitting there talking about how, the guy's been on this show for quite a while. He must be kind of bored as far as being the same role, so I understand why he did what he did. Now, this guy's a lot more nicer than I am. And to some extent, I get it. Okay, I get that he wants to sit there and do something different. He wanted to change. He wanted a challenge. No one wants to sit there and just go to work every day and just be doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. Unless it's their dream job. And even then, they kind of want to switch things up a little bit. So I get the fact that, Maurice wanted to do something different. The problem with him doing something different like that is that it screwed up a lot of other storylines. And on top of that, it lasted way, way, way too long. When we started this in February, it's September. Really? I guess you want to sit there and try to do something different to expose your acting chops, but that many months? We had to sit through that for that. Okay. Alright. I would accept it maybe 2 months of that. 2 months minimum. I have nothing to say about that. I'll just be happy when it comes to an end. At this point, I'll be happy when it comes to an end. I am so angry about that. Just sit there, think about the amount of time that he decided, oh, I don't want to be Sonny anymore for a good for a while. Close to 8 months. Close to 8 months. We had to sit there. You know what? Never mind. Not even gonna go there. Jordan decides with Sean that she's going to go alone because it's going to taint the investigation and all a bunch of legal jumbo. So she's like, you're going to have to sit this one out. I'm going to go there by myself. Of course, when she gets there, she runs across Curtis and Portia. So now they're both sitting there looking for this guy. And I'm not going to lie, the way that, I get that she said she was a cop, but when she came to that person's house, she was like all in the window. And then she went to the other window, at the door, and then she went to the window, and she almost looked like she was trying to pry it open. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Because I can sit there and tell you right now, that's a good way to get shot. Okay? That's a really good way of getting shot. The way she was sitting there trying to, go through the window or whatever she was doing, I was like, are you kidding me? Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next video.